Hello, and welcome to Dead of Night Halloween Productions Modular Mausoleum Part 3, Painting the Bricks. Materials needed for this build are 1 gallon of brick-colored paint, 1 pint of black paint, 1 pint of white paint, plastic cups, several cheap paintbrushes, a paint roller, a paint tray, water, small craft paintbrush, and a damp towel or cloth. Alright, welcome back. I'm glad that everybody stuck with us. I know I've been getting a lot of emails asking when the next part was going to be up. I'm glad you're patient with me. The last few weeks of work have been incredibly crazy, so I haven't really got to do anything. I've been working on the project a little bit and videotaping it, but I haven't actually got to come in and edit it just yet. So I finally am getting this done. I hope you enjoy it, and we're going to go on to how to paint these bricks. The first thing I'm going to tell you is that this is incredibly time consuming. So if you get into this, make sure you have some time to really spend with it. You have to wait for paint to dry, then you have to go over into multiple layers to actually get a believable look. So just stick with it. It's going to happen. The first time I did these, I think I painted the foam like probably 4 or 5 different times, trying to find colors that I liked and really working with it until I came up with a system that I really dig. So you guys are seeing the final project of, or the final product of a ton of trial and error. So just work with it, see what colors you like, and make it look how you want it to look. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to start painting these bricks and the grout in between. As you can see, I've already got some of this started. All I've done is I took some black latex paint and mixed it with some white to make this gray, kind of mix it up. It's okay if some of the black is still showing up. We do not want a uniform color here. We want some of it to be darker, some of it to be lighter, make sure it looks like it's really watered. So with a $2 really crappy paintbrush I bought from Home Depot, I'm just going through here, and it's really just getting down and dirty in between these cracks, making sure that everything's filled in. As you can see, I've already done it for all the bricks in between the window frame. You can see down here, I'm doing some color tests to see how the brick is going to turn out and some of the different colors. And what we're going to want to do is you want to save some of this, but make sure that you save some paint that you can make darker and save some that you can make lighter, because we're going to go back and hit some of these with some variations in between here to break up the uniformity. We do not want this to be one solid color. And this is just basically the base. I mean, this is what we're going to start with. Hit these bricks over top and everything, and then the real detail is going to come when we start adding texture variations, dry brushing, flecking, things like that, and then finally water damage and things like that when we start hitting it with the black and making it look like it's been rained on for 100 years or so. So this is what we're going to start with. You just go through and do this with all the joint pieces, and then we come back and we'll start painting the bricks. Alright, so now that we finished up all of the grout lines, painting them in there, these are still a little bit wet, but we're going to go ahead and go over these with a roller. We'll smear that up, that's fine. We want some depth, and we want some the breaking up the uniformity of this. So if colors mix together and everything, that's fine. Bricks are supposed to be different colors. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a can of paint here. That's the color that I'm using. It's a $9 can from Home Depot. I just found some Gildan white, had them mix it up for me to the brick color that I wanted. I'm going to roll over this for right now, and then that'll be our base coat and the first start of what we're going to put on. So there's our brick wall now that's been painted with the first coat of brick colored paint. You can see these areas right here are still staying white and everything where the foam's coming out. And realistically, if you want to leave that and make it look like it was mortared or that it was patched up and everything, you can. It doesn't have a real bad look to them. Another thing you can do is take a different color brick, like a little bit lighter, and you can fill these in. It'll make it look like the brick broke, and now you're seeing the exposed new brick that hasn't been weathered by time poking through. That's another option. As you can see, I've left a few of them white. One, because you can leave a couple white bricks in there just for a little bit of character, making it look like that there was a patch job done and there's just a different color brick in there. 2, because if you want to, you can go through and use a completely different color, like a brown or like a brownish purple or something like that, to put in there to make it just give it a little bit of a depth, a little bit of realism. If you look at a brick wall, there's multicolors in there. So I leave these open to leave a little bit of extra color in there. We're also going to go through and do these on the normal bricks, kind of paint them up. And as you saw before, we're going to have to go through here and hit this with a little bit of black and water. I'm going to use some black latex and some water just to add some definition through here to start out with. Once this dries, we can start going through, adding our dirt layers to it, adding some dry brushing, give it some white, some detail up top, a little bit of accent. And then finally, we're going to put this on the wall because the last part of the paint job, when we actually go to weather this, is going to require it to be vertical so that we can have our paint drip down it. We're going to actually hit it with some black paint and some water and make it drip down, really water it down. When it's done, it's going to look like it's been in the rain for a while and it's been stained up and everything. So that'll be the next point as soon as this gets dry. Okay, so now we're on day 2 of painting these panels. I'm going to tell you, it's pretty time intensive. It's taken a lot of work to get these done, and you got to go over it with a lot of layers. As you can see, we put some browns in here, some darker reds coming up right there. Kind of mix things up. We went through and done some of the grout work, put some grays and blacks in through here to give that a little bit of texture. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting some of these broken bricks. What I've done here is I've taken this brick color, which is just my normal brick color, mixed it with some white and came up with a more pinkish color. That is what I'm going to put in there to make it look like it's more exposed brick. So when we weather this up, this is going to look a little bit older. This is going to look like a little bit newer brick because it's recently exposed. So we're going to go through, paint this in, and then we'll come back. And once that's done, we can hit it with a couple other different colors to give it some texture if we want to. I'm going to leave some of these areas white to make it look like it's been plastered and everything. Some of them I'm going to fill in. And then we'll have a pretty well textured brick pattern on here. And then I can start going in and weathering it up, putting dirt and grime and everything on here. And finally we're going to put rainwater and make it look like it's been out in the weather for a while. Another thing I wanted to show is a little bit of dry brushing that we're doing. I'm using that same kind of pink color. It's a little bit of white, a couple different reds, and the brick color that we have in here all mixed together. And I'm going over and just adding a little bit of texture to this. So what I've done is I've put the paintbrush in, I've taken almost all of it off, I've dabbed it against the cup that I was using until it's almost all gone. And then you just take it and lightly kind of brush over the brick and everything just so it gets a little texture and some variation in there. You can do it in all sorts of different directions. You don't want it to be uniform and everything, so get it in there and make sure that it just kind of distorts that up. And that's going to give these bricks a little bit of different color and make them not so uniform. We'll do this with some other colors too to really get them going, but that actually adds a good distinction on the bricks there and kind of breaks the whole thing up. So we're going to do that to a lot of these bricks around here, and by the time we're done, we're going to have some real definition in these bricks and a really good base coat down and ready to start weathering these up. So this is pretty much it. We finished up the bricks and adding some dry brushing to it to add some accents. Finished going around the window frame right now. I'll do the window frame itself a little bit later. I'm still trying to decide what color I want to go with here. Here we've done some grays for a little bit of these to kind of make it look like it's been patched up right here and here. For other parts we went with a lighter pinkish color in the brick, kind of make it look like it's new and exposed. I'm going to tell you right now that if you're going to get into this project, I should have told you this from the beginning, this is incredibly time intensive when it comes to detailing all of this. It's a lot of work. With this, like if you see right here, I've taken some pink paint. That's it right there. It kind of looks beige in the camera, but it's got a pinkish hue to it. And you take your brush, and with these, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is, if I can find my brush, I'm in a dark garage right now, so it was kind of hard to tell. I was looking for my paintbrush a bit ago, and to show you a little bit more of the dry brushing, I'll show you the brush right here. As you can see, there is very, very little paint on the end of that brush, almost nothing at all. So it blended right in when I was trying to paint with it. But what you want to do is, I'm gonna switch hands here, and you just take this little bit of paint, and you kind of just feather it across some of these edges. press harder to get a little bit more paint on there, go across especially along the edges and where the cracks are, and it's really going to add some detail and really bring out the sides of those. That's some actually really good looking brick in my opinion. These turned out incredibly well. I'm real happy with this, and now we're ready to start weathering the whole thing. So once we get this, we have to stop right now for the actual brick panels. I'm going to finish painting all the rest of them and get them ready to go, and then once we build the frame, which should only take like an hour, we're going to get these ready to go and start hanging them on there. Once we hang them on there, we can finally start weathering them because they're going to be vertical, so the paint and the water that we're going to use is actually going to drip down, start filling these crevices, and really start staining these bricks up. And then we can start adding like our moss and everything else and start getting into the detail pieces. For a little side project, I found this cemetery sign in a dollar store. They were charging 50 cents for it. It's open cell foam. It's already carved in there. I went in, this was completely circular, so what I did was I went through and I chipped up all these edges and really broke this up. I broke up some of the letters and everything, put some gouges in there to make it look like it was actually, like broken stone. This thing was also almost painted completely black, so I went over it with a like a rough stone color and just started painting this in right now. Just brushed it all over, and now I'm gonna start doing the same thing with this as I did with the other ones. I accent this a little bit more, get some black in there, get that going. I'll hit it with some rain staining and get this all looking weathered up. Maybe even put some moss on here, add some definition to it, and by the time this is done, you can take this and hang it on the outside of your mausoleum. You can put it out front, whatever you want to do. But that's a really cheap, almost completely pre-made prop for 50 cents and a little bit of paint that we're going to be using anyways. If you have any questions about the project or the video, feel free to email us at deadofnighthalloween@gmail.com. And please remember to subscribe to the Dead of Night Halloween production channel by clicking the link above.